So we're really happy that you're with us. We hope that after today, you will talk to your friends, family, and neighbors about today's forum because it will be available online at a number of different locations online, which Micro Maine will be telling us about a little bit later. So just to let you know some of our partnering organizations, we have, of course, the Village Free Press through Micro Maine, who will also be today's moderator. Best of Proviso Township, and we have Randall McFarland, who is with us. Thank you. We have the Proviso Township Ministerial Alliance Network. I don't know if we have anybody from there today. All right. Of course, NOMCO, as I mentioned, Maywood Public Library, Westchester Public Library, and the League of Women Voters, Proviso Township, and in particular, the League of Women Voters, LaGrange. We had a really key participant, Diane Scott, who helped us, so we were really appreciative of that. A super shout out to the Maywood Public Library for allowing us to use their space here. It's a beautiful room, and we really are so appreciative of that. And then finally, a shout out to our candidates. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here today. So I'll hand this over now to Mike Romaine. Mike will give an introduction to himself. For many of you, he doesn't need an introduction. He's been with us for many years here in Maywood, of course. But so appreciative of all the hard work that Mike has done to pull this all together. So thank you.
Thank you. So just a little housekeeping. Well, I should introduce myself to the live stream audience. I'm Mike Romaine, publisher of Village Free Press. Also publish a paper on the west side of Chicago called The Culture, and was one of the facilitators for this Proviso Votes Initiative, which is a collaboration among a group of nonpartisan organizations and entities that Laura Rogers just mentioned. So this forum is for candidates who are running in the race for 3 open seats on the Maywood Board of Trustees. We invited all of the slates and all of the independent trustees who are running. At the same time, we gave the slates an email at the same time, so they all had the same invite. They also were allowed the opportunity to fill out a candidate questionnaire that, if they filled it out, would be available at provisovotes.org. And we're still kind of ironing out some kinks because we got you confused, Ms. Westbrook, with one of your running mates. So we'll allow you an opportunity to fill out that questionnaire at a later date and then post it. And we have extended an extension for other candidates who want to post that so we can get as many different responses as possible for people who could not make the forum. So in addition to, let me also point out so Diane is gone, but we encourage you to check your voter registration, your voter status at the Cook County Clerk's website. Google Cook County Clerk, voter status or voter information. It should pop right up. I'm going to lay out the rules and the code of conduct for the candidates and audience members. We ask that please respect the hosts, the moderator, the candidates, and the audience members. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for opening and closing statements. Those statements will be delivered in alphabetical order for the opening statements and reverse alphabetical order for the closing statements. We ask that each candidate address the audience and not other candidates. Please, no audience questions or audience participation. No campaign materials are allowed inside the room. Please, no yelling, shouting, or disrespectful behavior. I should also add, don't plug your campaign. No shameless plugs for the campaign. I'll be doing that from now on to just let people know. We want to hear what your ideas, your policy ideas are, as opposed to other things. And you can also, if they fill out a questionnaire, there should be space for where they can direct you to their website or email or however other way they want you to learn about them as candidates. But this is only about the substance. And we will strictly enforce speaking times, and only one person will be allowed to speak at a time. So I'm going to sit down and allow each candidate to give their opening statement. And the first candidate is Ms. Booker. Jesus. What's your name? Miss Miss Montgomery. This is a long day. Rachel Montgomery, followed by Eileen Olivier, followed by Dora Velasquez, followed by Claudia Van Diver, and Nina Westbrook, in that order. And for questions or whatever, if I just look at you or point at you, just know, because I may get your name wrong, because I've been up for a long time. So Ms. Montgomery.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Rachel Montgomery. I'm running for trustee. This is my second time running. I grew up in Maywood. I am a wife, a mother of two. And the reason that I am running for trustee for the second time is because I see that there is a lack of engagement on the board. We need trustees that are vocal, that are advocating for the residents of Maywood. I want to bring a unified board. I have a vision for Maywood that is bright, that has innovative businesses, and I want the community to be just as engaged as they want the trustees to be. And I'm just an honest person. I'm here for the people. I care about the people. I'm raising my children in Maywood, and I want to inspire generations to come, as well as my children, to know that there is a space in this political arena for true and honest people. So that's why I'm running, and my name is Rachel Montgomery.
Thanks, and I apologize for running with Rachel. I just want to point out that you will have a 30-second marker when you have 30 seconds left, and a 10-second marker when you have 10 seconds left if you can't see the countdown. Ms. Olivier.
Okay, my name is Eileen Olivier. I am a 25-year resident with the Village of Maywood. I spent a lot of my time within the village giving a lot of my service to projects that I feel very passionate about. I feel very passionate about my community and looking for solutions and ways that we can, as individuals, make an impact. So I feel like through the impact that I'm seeking, I thought that being a trustee would be a wonderful way to advance that impact. So I ran for trustee previously, and each time that I've run, I've noticed that I have increased my voter advantage, like the voter count. So I'm reaching more people. I expect that to continue, and I hope to win at this term because I feel that I am an excellent candidate for the village. I care very deeply about Maywood. I'm currently sick right now, and I'm here, and that stands to my commitment to the community. I'm very capable of doing the work. I'm currently a realtor as well as a nonprofit organizer. So I work within the community as a person that puts together outreach initiatives. I also help to give voice to some of the youth and some of their needs as the president for the 209 scholarship. So as a president for the 209 scholarship, we have given over $100,000 in scholarships to students of District 209, and I'm very proud of that work.
Ms.
Hi,
Velasquez.
everyone. My name is Dora Velasquez. I'm running for trustee in the Village of Maywood with the People's Choice Party. As a construction business owner and general contractor, I see the true potential of our community. I understand the power of hard work, smart decisions, and a vision that turns possibilities into progress. Maywood is full of opportunities, and I'm ready to help shape a better Maywood. Hola, mi nombre es Dora Velázquez y me estoy postulando como trustee en el Village de Maywood. Como dueña de negocio y contratista general, veo el verdadero potencial de nuestra comunidad. Entiendo el poder del trabajo duro, las decisiones inteligentes y una visión que convierte las posibilidades en progreso. Maywood está lleno de oportunidades y estoy lista para ayudar a construir un Maywood más próspero. Mi enfoque será traer más negocios a nuestra comunidad. Thank you.
Ms. Van Diver.
Awesome. Hello, my name is Claudia Vandiver, and in order for you guys to kind of understand my commitment, I have to tell you a little bit about my family history. I'm actually considering myself a return resident. My mom is from Jamaica, my dad's from Alabama, and they actually met in Maywood. When I was born, they brought me home to live just on St. Charles in those apartment buildings down there. And even though over the years, as their family grew, they moved from Maywood to Broadview, then out to Bolingbrook, where I grew up, my parents always held Maywood in their heart, so much so they invested in Maywood. My family wasn't rich, but my parents took their middle-class salary and started buying a couple little properties in Maywood. And the beautiful thing is we worked on those properties as a family. We would mow the lawn together, cut the hedges together, pick up the trash over there on 17th and Madison together. And it taught me the importance of investing in Maywood, investing in building up Maywood, because we provided a lot of good quality housing to people in the community. And although, you know, over the years I've gone on professionally to go into medicine, I decided to take a little bit of time away to do community activism and organizing to focus on addressing the issues in the community and trying to further build up Maywood. So I think running for trustee is just the next step on that journey for me to have a bigger impact in shaping the direction and the future of Maywood.
And Ms. Westbrook.
Good evening. It's my honor. My name is Nina Westbrook. It's my honor today to be before you running for a village trustee. A little bit of my background is I'm a Maywood resident. I've been here for over 53 years. I have 6 children. They all went to Proviso East. I went to Proviso East. I have grandchildren that are entering and leaving Proviso East at this time. I'm a mom, a grandmom, and a great-grandmother. For many years, I have proudly called this neighborhood my home. And like you, I am deeply invested in its future. As trustee, my priority will be for our village to remain safe, supportive, and thriving place, especially for our seniors. We need, as senior citizens, as you can see, we're still real valuable. I'm doing this really for my grandkids and my grandkids to understand that you're never too late. It's never too late to fulfill a dream or go on a mission. I've been in Maywood all the time. I see people in the audience that were kids up under me. I see people in the audience that I went to school with. And I just love Maywood, and I want to be here, and I want to be a representative of Maywood. I'm fighting for you and for myself, and to make sure that this is a safe and a viable, resourceful place to stay. Thank you.
Thank you. The first question, each candidate will have 30 seconds to respond to, and that's simply what is your understanding of the role of a village trustee? You have 30 seconds. We'll go in reverse alphabetical order, so starting with Ms. Westbrook, going down.
Okay, as the village trustee, my understanding is to make sure that things are transparent and resources are there for the community, and that we can make a difference. And, you know, just to have some clarity, communication, and to know what's going on in the neighborhood. Communication is key, especially with senior citizens. A lot of times we don't have the technology, and I'm still learning the technology myself, even after going to college and having to send reports over the internet. I'm still learning. We need to be able to communicate with one another. We need to have resources for our children. The kids are coming out of school and they're leaving the neighborhood, and we want to keep them here.
Sorry, I'm just waiting for her. Okay, I'll keep it going. Yeah, so long story short, I believe that the purpose of a trustee is to be the intermediary between the people and government. I know a lot of times it doesn't feel that way, but it is, meaning our trustee board are the legislators. They make the laws or the ordinances of our community. They establish policy, but as a resident, when your issues aren't being resolved on the administrative side, it's the board's job to serve as a go-between in order to get your concerns addressed. So we are like the intermediary, the go-between between government and the people. So.
Ms. Velasquez.
Trustees serve as elect representatives responsible for shaping local policies, overseeing budget decisions, and advocating for the community best interests. Y también para ser como la intermediaria, ser la intermediaria entre el mayor y también toda la comunidad, que todas las voces sean escuchadas.
And just waiting for her to okay, so in my opinion, being a trustee in that role is a person that is responsible for budgeting concerns with the village, someone that works within a group, because with our current form of government, we have trustees that are all responsible, each with one vote, and so they're each very important to the process. I think that sometimes trustees can feel overlooked. Oh.
Okay, so as a trustee, I believe the role is to be an advocate for the residents and listen to the residents, and that's why I'm really pushing on having the residents engage so we can hear from you, so we can know what to vote on and know what policies that we should pass, and then also be transparent on what we can do and what we can't do. So that's my answer.
Thank you. In April, Maywood voters will weigh in on 2 ballot measures. One, shall the Village of Maywood retain the managerial form of municipal government? And 2, shall the Village of Maywood adopt the strong mayor form of municipal government? Of course, state law prohibits officials from advocating for or against a referendum question, but elected officials can educate the public about the facts of ballot measures. And I don't think any of you are currently incumbent trustees, so you can opine on this very freely. Can you explain your understanding of those referenda questions and how they might potentially impact the office of trustee if residents do in fact vote to change Maywood's form of government from a council manager form to a mayor council or strong mayor form? You can get each 1 minute for this. We can start, I guess let's just start with Ms. Vandiver and then go down to Ms. Velasquez, Ms. Olivier, Ms. Montgomery, and Ms. Westbrook.
Based on how our government is currently structured, we have 7 board members. Trustees have just as much power as the mayor in reference to being able to vote. With the change to a strong government, we currently have a separation between the board's function and then the village manager who runs the day-to-day business. If we go to a strong mayor form of government, now the mayor has the ability to have oversight over what happens in the day-to-day function, and the position of trustees actually potentially, from what I understand, goes away. We actually have to start thinking about electing aldermen, and there has to be a brand new election. So what we're doing now, it'll be mute. We will have to basically completely restructure, come up with new alderman positions, new administrators instead of the village manager. So it completely turns our government all the way around. So our roles won't be the same anymore.
I strongly believe that the true leadership engage the community and turns vision into effective policy. So I entiendo y para mí tiene que estar conectado y no independiente el mayor.
I think that the fact that many people are not aware of all of the changes that the referendum questions would cause to the village is a huge problem. I don't think that the citizens were informed enough to even have the measure on the ballot. So, and the financial cost. And so I just wonder, whoever put this together, did they really think it out? Did they put enough thought into it to inform the public so that we can be more informed citizens?
Okay, and just to piggyback what Eileen said, I'm totally against the strong mayor form of government. We already, in this form of government, have a hard time getting our points across or having everyone's voice being heard. And with a strong mayor form of government, whoever the mayor is can make decisions without even, letting the trustees or the aldermen or whatever, who's ever on the board, know. And that's concerning. And the proof is in the fact that the referendum is on the ballot and the residents wasn't involved. So if that's able to be done in this form of government, imagine the things that can happen in a strong mayor form of government.
Now, just to be clear, the election that would happen, any strong mayor form of government, that's a form of government that's written into state statute, and certain state laws require that there be wards, and those wards are represented by one or more alderpersons. There would need to be a new election. We don't know how soon that will necessarily be, per se. It could be 4 years from now, possibly not. There's not a whole lot of clarity on this issue. But what we do know is that if the measure passes, if enough voters say yes to changing the form of government to strong mayor, there will be the need to implement an ordinance or vote for an ordinance. So 30 seconds, I would, you can say yes or no, or you can try to explain whether or not if you are elected trustee, will you vote for that ordinance establishing this different form of government? And we can go just reverse alphabetical order from Ms. Westbrook on down.
Finish with the part of the question.
I am so sorry. Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Until the end. I'm against the strong mayor because I believe in the HR process where you have to qualify for a position. Even the mayor has to go around and present his case and make sure that people understand that this is what I'm qualified for. It's not just a job, but it's the job that you have to be qualified for. So with the administrative manager, I believe that it will be better for the community with an HR process.
Okay.
Now we can answer
now, right, I'm sorry.
Just repeat the question again.
Yeah, so will you, if you're elected trustee, will you vote for, and if the ballot measure passes, will you vote for the ordinance that would in effect, implement the changing the form of government?
Would I vote for or against the ordinance that would change it?
You have 30 seconds.
I would vote against the ordinance that would, I think I'm doing that right, against the measure that would change it into a strong mayor position.
I also would vote against it because from what I hear from all of the residents, hundreds of residents I've spoken for, I've yet to feel that they are for that measure. A lot of people feel and see clearly we aren't prepared to undertake that. And if I'm truly a representative of the people, I have to do what's in the best interest. So until leadership gives us all the tools that we need to make educated, informed decisions, I wouldn't support it.
I vote no. We are here for the community and for the community with the community.
I will vote no. I don't think that we have enough information. I don't think this is the right time for the village to do this during these uncertain and times that we have financially. Our budget process needs to be really worked on versus trying to get a new form of government.
Okay, and I would vote no as well for the previous reasons I explained. It takes away the engagement from the trustees and the residents, and we, again, need that input, so no.
Thank you. The last year, the village began hosting the first meetings related to the proposed formation of 4 tax increment financing districts throughout Maywood. By overlaying TIF districts onto most of the town, village officials believe they'll tap into the special taxing funds that TIF provides for much-needed infrastructure repairs that they argue will benefit homeowners. But there's some state experts, the Illinois CPA Society has stated that there are several problems associated with TIF districts, including that they reduce funds to other local taxing bodies like school districts. What is your stance on the village's proposal to create these additional TIF districts throughout Maywood? And if it came to a vote, would you vote for or against the creation of any or all of them? And Ms. Velasquez, you can go first, followed by Ms. Olivier, Ms. Montgomery, Ms. Westbrook, and Ms. Vandiver.
TIF district can be boost development, but often lack transparency. Residents deserve to know how funds are used if they benefit the community.
I think that TIF districts need to be implemented in a very transparent way. Residents need to know the exact impact that they will have on their taxes. They need to know how this will affect them down the line, because sometimes you have an immediate need, so someone says, and they're really just balancing, and it's more like a shell game. They're just moving money from one pot to another. And so you're taking money away from the school district, the parks. And so the impact of TIF districts, I think, need to be better explained than just a blanket, our village in TIF may not be the answer.
So my understanding is that we currently have 2 TIF districts. I'm kind of on both ends with the situation. So TIF districts, or those funds, they are important to attract new businesses and make the aesthetics of Maywood look better. So that's one way you can look at it, as far as minimizing the tax burden on the residents. But on the other end, it does take away funds from schools and other programs and things like that. So I think the solution will be just to find resources so we can both have a balance in both of them. So we definitely need money pushed into our schools and our libraries and our park districts, but we also need new businesses. So there has to be like a medium ground of what is the other option.
And my answer would be that I would have to do way more research on what a TIF district would involve, where the money would go, who would divide the money, who would be in charge of the money, how the money would be divided. I'm just not sure on that question, so I would just have to do a lot more research.
Okay, so I would be against it because I understand the flow of our tax dollars. We're currently being overtaxed, and what you have to understand, for a TIF district, you have to have a district, the district has to be funded. Who funds it? Us as taxpayers. So when you pay your taxes into the general pool, it's supposed to go to fund all the things we talk about. But if you open up a TIF, part of your tax dollars goes not to take care of our day-to-day functions, but it gets put into a TIF district, which leaves us less money to take care of our day-to-day needs. Another issue is, let's say I have a commercial property or a commercial business that has property on St. Charles TIF. In order for the TIF to work, that business owner ends up paying less tax dollars. So not only are we losing less money because we have to fund the TIFs, but then businesses in that area don't pay the same amount of taxes. Their actual cost of their to be.
I'll give you a 30-second extension.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is if you have a commercial business in that area that has a property worth $500,000, as part of TIF or even a tax exemption, the assessor is gonna assess that property at a lower rate, maybe $100,000 for the next 10 years. So they're not gonna pay the 25% tax rate, they're gonna pay a 10% tax rate on a property that has less value. So we're collecting less tax dollars because of we're putting it into the TIF, and less tax dollar because a property owner pays a lower tax rate. So no.
You. We can turn to Parks and Recreation. So in November, 3 non-binding ballot questions asking voters if they'd like the village to resume responsibility for Parks and Recreation. So that's the first one. If they'd like the village to resume responsibility for Parks and Recreation. 2, if they'd like to increase the homeowner's property tax exemption. And 3, if they'd like to dissolve the Maywood Park District. All 3 of those ballot questions passed overwhelmingly. So I'll ask, I'll take one at a time, and you can have 30 seconds to respond to the first one, which is, what is your opinion about the village possibly resuming responsibility for parks and recreation? So you'll have 30 seconds each. We'll start with Ms. Vandiver, Ms. Westbrook, Ms. Velasquez, Ms. Olivier, and then Ms. Montgomery.
In reference to the parks, in 2026, the village, the citizens, 1,978% voted that the village needed to get out of the business of running the parks. We currently can't afford it because you have to have money. You can see that our government is causing grant money and funding to be cut. The village needs to focus on their own financial responsibility, taking their own house and getting their own house in order, and then let the parks do what they need to do with better oversight and better leadership. So no.
I think in the beginning, it was a reason for the 2 entities to be separated. The Maywood needs to take care of Maywood, and the parks needs to take care of parks. There's so many different avenues for the Maywood to get their house in order than to try to take on the burden of Parks and Recreation. I think the 2 should be separated, and they should never come together.
I support keeping the park district independent. With the right leadership, trust can be restored and services improved. I endorse Tivian Johnson, Anthony Cook, Norma Ibel Alonso, and Vernica Smith for their vision and experience to transform our parks for the community.
I think that the parks should definitely be kept separate from the village. Currently, the village they have a almost $4 million budget for recreation, and a lot of that, they're actually increasing it steadily. And to me, the money is being used for promotion or propaganda. It's not really being used for youth programs that actually uplift the kids in our community. So I just don't see enough. Our pool is still not repaired, and so these functions does not help. They're not helping us.
Okay, I was going to give you additional time if you need it. 30 seconds.
The Park District has frustrated a lot of residents in its current leadership because it lacked the leadership that people wanted to see that it dissolved itself. So with new leadership, I think that the park district will be fine. And so our current position of the village having to take over it is unnecessary.
Okay. So, I'm not in agreement of, the village and the park district. No, I'm sorry. No, the park district, should not be dissolved. I believe, again, with the proper leadership, and we have a team that I'm very confident that can go in, take a look and see what's really going on. Like the park district is not transparent of what's going on over there, as well as, the Board of Trustees. So we're just kind of, can I continue?
You can get 30 more seconds.
Okay. But like I said, no, again, the proper leadership, I believe people that are honest and transparent with what's really going on and collaborating with the Board of Trustees as well as the mayor, we can really work together to get the park district up and running for our youth, so.
For the second part of the other non-binding ballot question that was in non-binding means that even though these passed, the village is not required to make them into law. They're only advisory. So the second advisory question that passed was if people would want to increase the homeowner's property tax exemption. That was the second referendum question that passed last year. Can each of you explain what your understanding of that ballot question is, what is its implications, and if you did you vote yes or no for it yourself? If you want to disclose that, you get 30 seconds for this, and then and we could start with Ms. Montgomery and just go our way down alphabetically.
So taxes is not something that we have the authority to increase, but I do believe that we need to continue to provide more resources to our residents and be transparent with this. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so I think that currently our seniors get a homeowner tax exemption. Increasing that, I'm not sure if that's what the question was asking. So without further clarification, I would say at this time my vote would be no.
Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, so last year in November, there were 3 referendum questions that were on the ballot. They were non-binding. They were asking voters if the village should take responsibility for the parks and recreation. The second question was about a homeowner's property tax exemption increase. And that's what we're on now. What's your opinion about that ballot question? And
Okay.
do you support it or are you against it?
No, I don't support that because we already pay high taxes. And I know the community that we have. We have a community full of opportunities where we can get more business, and that way we can lower our taxes but not increase the taxes.
I think there was a lot of confusion about that, even like the wording of the referendum questions, because a lot of people were misled to believe that if you dissolved the park district, you were going to get a tax rebate or exemption. And there was no factual information to support that. So no one actually, even now, it was non-binding, but nothing's happened with it. So I don't think it's even something to vote in favor for, because I don't really think the intention was to give us tax relief based on it. So I say no, I wouldn't vote in favor of following through with that.
And I can actually read the question itself to provide a little bit more clarity. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I didn't do that before. So the question is, the Maywood Park District has an annual tax levy of $700,000. Shall that annual tax levy funds of the Maywood Park District be allocated to create a Village of Maywood residential property tax rebate program if the Maywood Park District dissolved into the Village of Maywood. So it would be asking basically for the village to take the funds that would have been going to the Maywood Park District if it votes to dissolve. And there are many steps to that that is not listed here, but they take their budget and then they basically give it back to residents as a rebate. So that was the ballot question. Ms. Westbrook, and to be fair, now that you've heard the question, if anybody wants to give another opinion, feel free to. But Ms. Westbrook,
I'm a 27-year post office retiree. Money is so tight, but I would never vote for anything that would, like take away from the park district and give it back to me. Even I would never do that. I think the park district should stay the way it is. I have grandchildren, and like I said, great grands that need that opportunity to play around. Like my kids got a chance to play around, especially swimming at Fred Hampton Pool.
okay. So let me just read all three of these because I'm confused now. Okay. That's not what I should have read. That's not the question I should have read. The question I meant to read was, shall the Illinois General Assembly increase the amount of the homeowner property tax exemption to help reduce the property tax burden on the residents of the Village of Maywood? Shall the Illinois General Assembly increase the homeowner property tax exemption to help reduce property taxes in Maywood? So that was the question, one of the three that passed, and it passed 78% to 22%. Again, if you all want to chime in on that question that I specifically read.
It's not any clarity on that. I don't think people really understood what that proposal would be or if there were any challenges to it. So even though you could, how much do you save on something like that? You don't really save anything doing that. And we just need I believe we need the park district.
From those,
You speaking to them.
what I understood from this, my mic is not there. Thank you. Is that it was just really something, an incentive for people to vote to have the village take over the parks. So they just threw some red meat out there to get people to think, I'm going to give you a rebate, I'm going to give you money, here's some extra things that'll come to you if you vote to let the village take over the park. So I think that it wasn't really a well thought out question.
Anyone else? Take 30 seconds to respond.
No, we okay.
Okay, move on. Pardon me?
That you like really ponder over, because I think the wording is.
Okay, the next that clears that section. I also wanted to ask about trustee independence, because there are trustee candidates of you all who are running for a slate, and then there's one independent candidate on the here today. But if elected trustee, how important do you believe it is to maintain independence as a singular elected official? And would you be willing to buck against your slate if the majority of your slate got into office? And we can start with Ms. Westbrook and just work our way down. You can 30 seconds.
Okay, after the election, what does the slate has nothing to do with policies and how you represent the people in the neighborhood. The people aren't going to come to the slate. They're going to come to you and ask you questions about what's going on here, there, and the other place. And I think we need to be transparent and accountable as an individual elected to office to give them clear and accountable answers.
Okay, and kind of piggybacking on that, I concur. Unfortunately, that hasn't necessarily been the case. And you could see it on the campaign trails, you can see it on the boards that people, by nature, click up or group up, but it's never to the best interest. You have 7 votes on the board, and each individual is supposed to represent the people, not a party, not an agenda. But if we can get back to that, we would definitely be able to move forward with a lot of the things that's currently being held up in gridlock based on the factions. So,
Village trustees should prioritize the community's needs with accountability, transparency, and independence.
I think that it's very important to maintain your independence and to have your own thought process so that you can encourage the board. But sometimes they may be, thinking in one way, and you can kind of encourage them to listen to a different perspective. And I think my team kind of know that I will say, what I feel. I have an independent voice, and so I do feel like I would represent that.
So yes, I strongly believe in being independent. The slate allows you to build those relationships, but I definitely believe in calling out people and, in an encouraging way, but I believe in independence. We all have voices, and if we just conform to one person, we can miss ideas, miss things. So I encourage it. I encourage it on my team. They're laughing because they know that I love people to speak up, so.
Thank you. Over the last several years, there have been instances with elected officials across village government and across taxing bodies in Maywood where certain ethical boundaries have been crossed. What are your thoughts about the village's ethics policies or protocols or ordinances that may or may not be currently in place? And if elected, how would you address the need for elected officials to be held accountable? And do you think that there's enough on the local ordinance book to do so? And you can get a minute each for this question. We can start with Ms. Velasquez, and then Ms. Vandiver, Ms. Westbrook, Ms. Olivier, and Ms. Montgomery.
Strong character is essential for Maywood. Leaders ensuring honesty, accountability, empathy. Empathy is really important. And collaboration. These qualities build trust and lasting success for the village.
Personally believe that you can put things on the books, but our issue is not that we don't have policies and procedures. Our issues is more so a level of professionalism and integrity in representing our community. I mean, we can put as many ordinances out there and legislations, but our problem is a lot of times in politics, people put the politics and the position before the people and the purpose, so they lose sight of what they're really supposed to be doing. And so unless we can get people in those positions who stay firm with integrity, their commitment of service for the community, and are willing to disagree, but still be respectful of one another, then we can put as many ordinances and books ordinances on the books, they're not going to adhere to it. So it's a personal integrity that we need to go ahead and find those people to put on these boards who represent that both on and off of the board.
At the end of the day, your mom and daddy taught you what to do and how to do it. Go out as kids and you party and you act silly out there and the police bring you home, then you get what you get. It's the same thing as adults. Go out there and you know you are not able to come home in the same way that you went out there, because people die every day because of somebody neglecting to do what they were supposed to do. We have off subject. But at the end of the day, you know the difference between right and wrong. And ethics. You can't go on your job and just do anything you want to do. You have to obey by the rules.
I think that ethics and integrity, character, all those things play a huge part of building trust within the government, because without that, I mean, everyone can make a mistake, and people do, we make mistakes, but we correct ourselves. A lot of things that time our team will say, we listen, we don't judge, but we do correct. So, I mean, it comes down to personal integrity and how you want to govern yourself. And so the village has to have policies in place that make sure that, the officials are abiding by those rules. And so the person in that role has to abide by those rules.
I strongly believe in good ethics and integrity. Those are the requirements that I believe are needed to be in these positions. A lot of times we lead with, our experience and our, what school we went to, but we don't really look at the character of people. And it's really the character that is lacking in these positions that gets us in situations that lack transparency, lack honesty. So I strongly believe in that, and I believe that the people that you all put in these seats look at the character, look at the heart of these people, instead of, focusing on, those types of things. So yes.
As it's been stated, Ms. Velasquez, if elected, you would be Maywood's first Latina on the board. So I hope it's not inappropriate for me to address this question. You can go first with this question because you have intimate experience with the village's Hispanic population. They're a third of Maywood, roughly, according to the census. And around 28% of households in Maywood consider Spanish their first language. Do you believe the village government is sufficiently welcoming and accommodating to these residents' needs? And if not, what are your plans, if elected trustee, to make the village more welcoming and accommodating? And you can get a minute for that. And then we can then go to Ms. Olivier, Ms. Montgomery, Ms. Vandiver, and then Ms.
Okay, my answer is no. And I think I need a few hours to talk about this. Because, as a Latina, and I was talking with some residents that are here, and I see them, this is the first time that I see them, and I was talking to them, and I'm so proud of you guys, and so, I'm thankful that you guys are here, because we were like knocking doors, talking with people, and everyone says that they don't feel welcome. They trying to be in meetings, and I know people said many things about we should do this, we should do that, but we need action. We really need to make Maywood, like, everyone say inclusive, but we really have to see that and feel it, because as a community, I think if we think about the power of if we all work together, we can really, really do great things.
I think that, as Dora said too, when we went knocking on doors, there was many Hispanic neighbors that voiced their concern about a lack of inclusivity, being at some of the functions that they had in town. Someone suggested, why don't they have the Zacatecas Festival anymore, or why don't they have more literature in Spanish, so that people do feel welcome. You can say it, and you don't show it. It's a difficult sell. So I think that we need to do more by engaging those residents that are vocal, and allowing them to be a part of committees. We've gone away from that, but bringing them back so that they can bring us more details on what those communities would need from us. What would they like to see from the village?
Sure, you can get 30 more seconds.
I forgot to say something. When someone is running a campaign, you know that we listen to many things. But the residents that are here present, they told me that they need more information in Spanish. They need people that translate everything in Spanish as well. But I think we really need that, not just when we're running a campaign, when we are doing promises, we need that like for real.
So yes, to piggy off of Dora and Eileen, I don't believe that Maywood has been as welcoming as we could. We have, like the fest, and we have different activities, but it's not enough. We need literature. We need those community engagement groups that can tell us what they need. We can come up with these small things, but if we're not really connecting with the people and hearing what they need, we're only giving them a certain percentage. So we can definitely do more. I looked at the website. You can translate it to Spanish. However, the minutes and the agenda is not in Spanish. When you go to the board meetings, I don't believe I've ever seen it be translated in Spanish. And that's the information that they need. So, no, I definitely believe that we can do better, and our entire slate plans on doing that.
Okay, of course we can do more. We can do more with anything. Some of the flyers that I have, I had called around to different Hispanic groups and I asked them, could I get a template that can interpret some of the flyers that we do have? And it took a lot of research. I did have one group that wanted to help me, but I went back and I got my daughter-in-law, and she had people on her staff that did interpret the flyers for me. So I was able to pass out flyers that were in English and in Spanish. So yeah, you can do more. And when we were at the polls, when people were voting, they let me know that, the price of eggs was too high, I need to get a house, and where can I get a mortgage? So yeah, we can do more, and we can reach out, and we can make sure that everybody benefits from what Maywood has to offer.
Okay, before I get started, can I ask for extra 30 seconds?
Sure.
Okay, so I personally experienced, some of the things that she mentioned. As a physician, I trained at Cook County, and I went through a program of family medicine where I chose to work at a clinic in a Hispanic neighborhood. So there would be days where patients, if there weren't interpreters available, they would wait in the ER for like 24 hours, 48 hours. And then even here in Maywood, when I was getting my petition signed, a young lady got out of the car in Spanish. She told me, asked me, did I understand what she was saying? She was basically in a situation where her husband had been given a ticket, but in all actuality, she was trying to understand where to get a parking sticker. So I took her into the village, and no one at the front cashier window spoke Spanish. So me having a lot of exposure with code department, I took them back there because I knew we had Spanish-speaking people in the code department, and they were able to confirm what I thought. She needed a sticker, and we walked her up to the front. So we definitely do need to address the issues of being able to reach out to that population and to provide resources, because they're left out a lot of times. And especially as a physician, you would be surprised to see the different types of burdens that they have to bear because they don't have access to the same information that we do. So if we can do a little bit better.
Maybe we can pivot into talking a bit about communication and how the village communicates with residents generally, and more specifically with different demographics of residents. What are your thoughts on how the village communicates? The village government communicates with community members, stakeholders, residents, and if elected trustee, what are some ideas for how you might improve, if you think it needs to be improved. You can take 30 seconds for this, and if you need an extra 30 seconds, we can put it on, but we'll try to urge each person to get it done within 30 seconds. So we can start with Ms. Westbrook and then just go on down.
I think that Maywood needs to do a little bit more with communication, and that should be kind of simple because all it is a flyer or a placard or something you have. Now, when they have the different meetings, I was talking to a couple of sisters back there that they didn't know that they were having meetings at the Mason Temple, but they do call around to let people know that it's there. So communication is key, and we do need more communication. We have marquees everywhere in the village that they could put the information on, but they're not utilizing that.
I think those are awesome ideas, and just to piggyback, I think we also need to change how we talk to the citizens, because a lot of times politicians or elected officials talk at them instead of talking with them. Even the town hall meetings, you come to the mic, you get your complaint, and then it goes in one ear, out the other. So what I would like to see, and I would facilitate, is more roundtable sessions where citizens are able to lead the discussions, put their concerns out there, and it's designed to start creating solutions to those problems. So involve them, and once people feel like they're being heard, they'll be more inclined to come out and want to be a part of things.
For me, if each department has someone that speaks Spanish, and the first thing is that people, if people feel welcome, I mean, they're gonna feel free to help, to do, and I know what we can create as a community if we all work together.
I think that our newsletters that go out, we spend a lot of money on print, and it could be more focused on community and on actual resident issues, and informing residents of things like a TIF district and what does it mean, and the water quality. I know they used to have that all the time, and things that are important to residents. I think that a lot of times our communication is not geared towards, informing. It's more geared towards, creating this pretty picture. So I think that having better communication, but also sending people out. Outreach is a powerful thing. If there were liaisons from within the village that went to churches, not at election time, but during the year, and inform people of things that was happening so that they would know that there is something going on in the village.
So the current communication, I think that, the newsletters are fine, but it's one-sided. So that's why I'm really pushing for the citizen-led community groups, and maybe allowing them a chance to write different things in those articles. So it's more transparent, and then it also builds the trust between us and the community, so we can create more engagement. But when it's one-sided, everything is okay, everything is perfect, and it's this picture that everything is good, and then you see the results of things not going good. Well, so yeah, that's it.
So, and clear, when you say water quality, you're talking about the annual water quality reports that villages put out typically.
Because on 19th Avenue, and this is just the issue that I had, they had a issue with our alley. They would never pave it. We had the bumpy alley, and they told us that there was a problem with our soil quality. We never got a report on it, but we got asphalt put down on it immediately when they did this revamping. And so it's like, do we still have the problem with the soil, or do we still have water quality issues? And we don't have that information. So I just would like to have that information in the newsletter, something that's important to me and my family.
For context, last year, the village, they paved the remaining gravel alleys throughout the village that were not paved. So, and they paved it with asphalt. That's what you're referring to. Ms. Montgomery?
And then also I wanted to make mention of like the different programs. So I think there was a program that the ARPA funds provided, like for you to be able to like do different improvements on your home. A lot of residents didn't even know that those things were happening. These different programs and these different resources that they say that they have, well, they have it, but it's only for people that they know. The residents don't even know about these different programs. So that's what I mean by being transparent and having not us trustees always being the leaders and the writers on these documents, but allowing the residents to be in on what's going on and being able to let the residents know what's going on.
So when you say ARPA, you mean American Recovery?
Yes.
The act, the federal legislation that was passed by President Biden.
Correct. And
and-
there were funds, grant money that, and different programs that money was supposed to be used for, and it wasn't.
So, and that's federal funding that flowed down to the local level. Now we have a different presidential administration that is implementing a range of draconian cuts that could potentially affect municipalities like Maywood, particularly Black and brown municipalities. What are you all's thoughts on what's happening at the federal level and how it might affect Maywood residents? And this could be a two-part question, but one, that's the fiscal reality of money not potentially flowing down like it had been under the previous administration in Maywood. And then two, the effect of federal immigration policy in which the president is utilizing immigration custom enforcement and other law enforcement to conduct raids on potentially people who are not here legally or who aren't documented. So two-part question. You can answer it however you'd like in a minute. And we can start with Ms. Vandiver, Ms. Westbrook, and then Ms. Velasquez, Ms. Olivier, and Ms. Montgomery.
Okay, with the limited time, I'm just going to focus on the fiscal portion. My concern is this. When I read the village's most recent audit, 60% of all of its money comes from our tax dollars, compared to Westchester and compared to Oak Park, where it's pretty much 30%. And if that's where the majority of their income comes from, and a lot of times for things that they pay for in Maywood, they talk about grant funding. Well, those cuts are going to be the grant funding. So if the village isn't able to get a large amount of grant money, where are they going to go to get the money to be able to make their ends meet? That's going to fall on our backs. So I believe that the village needs to take a hard stance in the upcoming years to start cutting a lot of fat off of the budget. The overspending, the astronomical salaries, you need to take that waste, put it back in the budget, and just like everybody here, you live on a budget, live within your budget, and then we'll be okay. But that really needs to happen.
Okay, as far as the physical responsibility, I understand that during COVID, there was some extra money that was available and left out. And at that time, I was one of the people that needed a little help. And I went to all the managers of Maywood. I can't tell you about the conversations that we had because I was loud with it. But they never got back with me to get any help. And I had a diabetic child at the house, and they had dug up my water pipes. And by the time we finished, they put the water pipes back down, but I still didn't get any kind of physical relief as far as that's concerned. And I think for senior citizens, we lack that. We need that help. We do need that help. I'm a widow, and I'm retired, and there's only so much money that I could use for anything, especially if I get a water bill that's really too high. But I know what seniors need, and I know what they need to be helped. So if, with the opportunity and the chance, I would like to work on that.
If I understand the question correctly, I think we need to support local businesses And as a construction business owner, I know how important that is. And about the other question that you said, I think we need to make our community feel safe.
So I think with the Trump enforcement of immigration policies and really coming down hard on a lot of communities, I think it's going to affect Maywood just as it is, many communities in the west suburbs where, many of us use, like even in my work at the Way Back In, we get grants, and those grants get dried up, then you have to find other sources for those monies. So I think Maywood particularly would need to get its budget and its financial house in order and really stick to some of the basics and not have to trying to overreach, I think, in some areas where we don't need to take over the library, we don't need to purchase other things that we can't afford. We need to leave the park districts for themselves and focus on maintaining our own budget within house.
Okay, just to piggyback on what Eileen said, things are going to happen in your personal life. So it's the same when with running a business. You need to anticipate things like this happening, and I don't believe that Maywood has planned for this. However, I believe the solution is to really taking a look at the finances, and just like Eileen said, leaving the park district, leaving the library board, and letting them handle their finances, and we need to handle ours and see where we can cut. Just like your personal life. When things happen, you have to cut things, you have to prioritize what is needed. You don't go out purchasing new properties, new things. You work with what you have. So, yes.
So it's currently 4:45, and I don't know if you heard, but the library closes at 5. We're going to go into to closing statements. I know we said 2 minutes, but if you don't want to be locked in, you might want to keep it a little shorter than that. So we can start with Ms. Westbrook, and I would give some grace to Ms. If anybody has the 2 minutes, it ought to be you because we made some mistakes with you. I really apologize again. So Ms. Westbrook, and it'll go down in reverse alphabetical order.
Okay, number one, I accept your apology.
Thank you so much.
But thank you, everybody. This was I was really, really nervous. I really didn't want to do this. I had to be talked into doing this. But I thank you. Thank you for being receptive. Thank you all, but I'm going to get you at the end. I want to be voted in. I know what the senior citizens need. I think I have the communication skills for it. So please consider me. I've been here all the time. My kids were raised here. I got grandkids that are here now. I believe that Maywood is a safe place. That's what my mom did. We came out of the projects. I have 4 brothers. It got dangerous, and all of them were still here. The ones that passed on, they passed on naturally. I have 4 sons and grandsons. I think this is a safe place. So with your help, I'm going to work on it. And with whoever else is here, I'm going to work with them as far as continuing it to be a safe place.
Okay, first and foremost, I want to thank everybody for coming out and listening to all of us. And I just want to say that I've been going to the board meetings here in the village for over 10 years. I've been studying the history, the finances of Maywood, and that's why I understand the village so well, because I've been in school here learning the business of Maywood. And that's the thing, it is a business. It has a $30+ million budget, and it needs people who have experience in running business, who are financially literate, financially responsible, and who really have a dedication and, more important, a vision and a plan for our community. A vision and a plan to take Maywood not just forward, left, right, but up to the next stratosphere, and I believe we can do it. So if you want somebody who's very solution-oriented and who's a problem solver to play a role in really getting Maywood back in the direction it's supposed to be, I humbly ask that you just consider voting for me. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you. And I think we all are tired of just promises, and we all are ready for action. And we are ready to have results, not just promises.
And running for trustee for the Village of Maywood as a dedicated servant, as someone who is passionate about my community, someone who has put in a lot of work into my community because I believe in it. I understand where Maywood could be. We have so much potential. We have some of the best people that I've bumped into and worked with. And so I just feel like we need to support those people and support our resident. And so I'm asking that you vote for me, Eileen Olivier, as your next village trustee.
Okay, again, my name is Rachel Montgomery, and I just want to thank everyone for this opportunity. I hope I said something tonight that connected with you all. I'm running because we need real people in these positions. I may not have the experience. I do have some experience, but I may not have some of this experience as other trustees or some of the current trustees. But I can guarantee you this, that I'm going to be honest, open, transparent with you. I'm a real person. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. My parents are here. My mother-in-law are here. I can connect. I understand the seniors. I'm raising children. My son goes to Proviso East. I'm a Proviso East graduate. And one of the questions that they asked that we didn't get a chance to speak on was what is one of the characteristics that is required in these positions. And my answer was humility. You need humility, and the opposite of humility is pride. And what we see in these political spaces is a lot of prideful people, a lot of egos. And I can guarantee you that I'm not perfect, but I check myself, and I plan to check the people that I work with. I have a slate full of people that I check when they get out of hand. So vote for me. Again, my name is Rachel Montgomery, and vote for the entire People's Choice Party. Thank you.
I can only imagine the conversations that you be having, Rachel. Oh my God. Be on your best behavior. I really appreciate, can you all give everybody a round of applause? Give yourselves a round of applause. You've been a great audience. And so a few reminders. We have the next candidate forum for Maywood Park District Library clerk and School District 89 candidates next week, Saturday, March 1st. The first four park districts is about 180 of people running for park district. About 12 or 13 people on that slate, which is why we had to go through Zoom. That Zoom will start at 9 a.m. It will go until, and there will be no audience, no live audience. All the candidates will be on Zoom from a remote location somewhere beyond the library. And at 11 a.m., at 9 to 11, 30-minute break, hour and a half break. 12:30 is when the first in-person forum will happen for clerks. Then after that, there'll be another forum for library candidates, and then the last will be for School District 89 candidates. And I believe there are 3 candidates running uncontested, but they will still get an invite for that forum. We want to appreciate everybody for coming, appreciate everybody for making this happen. The library especially for allowing us to host, not kicking us out, because we're up against it. I think it's like 5 p.m. now. So we really appreciate the library staff. They do a thankless job. NAMCO, Best of Proviso, Randall McFarland, who had to leave, Proviso Township Ministerial Alliance Network. He's not here, but Lorenzo Weber provided some valuable insight and help in helping us pull these off. Diane Scott from the League of Women Voters LaGrange area. She was instrumental and she volunteered today. Denise Pikes from the League of Women Voters Proviso. Camille Brady, who works with me at Village Free Press. Daniela is the executive director here at the Maywood Library. We want to thank her in particular. And special thanks to Laura Rogers and NAMCO, because we would not have this without them. So please give a round of applause to NAMCO. And I think that is everybody. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. We will have upcoming forums in other communities too, with one scheduled for sure in Westchester. That it will be on Zoom, however. If you want more information about that, go to provisovotes.org. If you are a community organization that wants help pulling one of these forums off between now and the election, please reach out to us, but don't wait a week before the election. Yes, if you need more information about how to vote, your registration status, where to vote, what may be on your ballot, go to the Cook County Clerk's office. Also, they need election judges. They need poll workers. So if you have need an extra $300 for putting up with people for a day, good luck. They need you. And also go to the League of Women Voters website, League of Women Voters Proviso, League of Women Voters LaGrange area. You can Google them. All the candidate questionnaires that we put out there will be at provisovotes.org. You can get more information about stuff that's happened in the past in the village from Village Free Press, vfpress.news. Yes. Yes, thank you for continuing to remind me of that. The Coalition for Accountability, which is a citizen-led group that originated in Maywood among community members and stakeholders who want more information about things that are happening in Maywood, they're hosting another Zoom. They hosted one about a week or so ago. They're hosting another Zoom on Monday, February 24th at 6 p.m. Google Coalition for Accountability Maywood or Facebook, search in the Facebook. CFAMaywood.org. CFA Maywood. I hope that's the right website. Okay, CFAMaywood.org. Go to their website to get more information on the good things that they're doing to try to spread awareness about things that are happening in the community. And you can sign up for the Zoom on that site for the Monday 6 p.m. Zoom on that site. And what will you all be talking about Monday? They are going to be talking more about this ordinance that will try to change Maywood's form of government, what the implications are. They're going to be doing some more deep dive research so that they can get some more facts about the matter, which everyone needs. Again, last shout out to Isaac and his team, Isaac Mobley. Thank you and good night.